Good morning, beautiful people. How we doing on this fine Monday, September 23rd, 2024? Here we are for another week packed full of market action. And specifically on our Monday session for these pre-market prep sessions, we're laying out our expectations for the week, the groundwork for the week. Where are the landmines? Where are the traps? Where are the loading docks? Where are the what is it called? Like the little stations that you stop at where you get like snacks and stuff, rest stops, right? Where are all those throughout the week? Where's the volatility coming in? Where do we have new data? Where do we have Powell speaking? Where do we have companies reporting and debuting their report cards? All of that is very, very key to know going into the week, and that's why Monday is our deluxe pre-market prep session. Even though I left deluxe off the title here this morning, but we go over the week ahead as well as what we expect for that specific day. So Monday, a very, very important day when it comes to planning. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, as the old adage goes. So you want to make sure that you are aware of what we expect out of the week ahead, as well as our Monday specific news. And that can help us game plan. Are we going hard this week? Are we chilling this week? Are we going light this week? Do we expect a lot of movement? Do we expect a little movement? All that goes into all that thought and consideration goes into this morning's session. And that's why Mondays is probably the most important of the week, although each and every day we're here looking to get 1% better. So it's important to be here as often as you can, right? Get your mind right, make great decisions, and continue to close the gap between who you are and who you were destined to be. Um, Make sure you throw those ones in the chat, signifying your intention, right? Doing an action in order to let everyone know what you are intending to do with this time. You're not here to play around, or you don't want success to be by happenstance. You want it to be intentional. So we throw those ones in the chat, signifying our intention to get 1% better. And let's do exactly that here on this fine Monday morning. So top news. Let me see. Let me make sure. All right, nice. Yes, we're in the right place. Coming off a historic few days sparked by the Federal Reserve's bumper half-point interest rate cut, Wall Street will have plenty to look forward to next week, including a plethora of central bank speakers. Traders will be curious to hear more thoughts on the rate cut and any guidance on further monetary policy easing. So that kind of lets us know that maybe the Fed speakers that speak this week, if they speak during market hours, might have I guess, an outsized impact to what they would normally have, which is negligible when it comes to markets. So normally, unless it's Powell and Kashkari probably once a year or twice a year, there's not really any rhetoric by Fed governors that affects markets. This week, though, that might be different. So we just have to be open to that fact and recognize that that could be the case. So if we see that we've got Fed speakers at this time, this time, and this time, and we start seeing volatility around one of those times, then we know, okay, let me check in and see, check in to Walter Bloomberg and see um, what they said, right? Did they say something that is causing markets to move or cause some volatility? And then that way we can nail down what the cause is. You never just want to see price action, not understand it, and then just not seek answers. Sometimes there won't be as definitive of an answer, but if you can nail down a definitive answer, you want to. So knowing what could happen that could impact what we see in terms of movement this week, that's important. And one of them could be central bank speakers. Now, traders will be curious to hear what more thoughts on the rate cut and any guidance on further monetary policy easing. Of note, Fed Chair Jerome Powell will give opening remarks in a video pre-recorded at the U.S. Treasury Market Conference on Thursday. So pre-recorded remarks, those are ones that don't really have the opportunity to cause a lot of volatility. More than likely, he's going to very meticulously plan his word choice and all of that to really not disturb markets. But if he does, come out and he does intend to, affect markets in a positive way or a negative way, he can, right, via those pre-planned remarks. Do I think it ends up being anything crazy? No. If anything, he just takes the time to be more dovish and just assure people that they aren't too late and that this is the perfect time to be cutting. So Maybe he does that, but I don't see him getting on and saying anything that would be negative. So if anything, I'd say, if there is a surprise, I don't expect a surprise from a pre-recorded video, but if there is a surprise, I'd expect it to be to the upside. Next week's economic data, they're talking about this week, sees growth indicators in the form of September flash PMIs, the third estimate of U.S. Q2 GDP growth, and the core personal consumption expenditures price index, the Fed's favorite inflation gauge for August. So we do get PCE, which doesn't normally make the market move as much as CPI does, but it is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. So that will still be important. PCE will probably be the most important piece of data here this week. The earnings calendar will be fairly light with a few major names on tap, such as memory chip maker Micron Technology and discount retailing giant Costco. Um, yeah, I mean, we saw some volume in Micron Technology, maybe some people taking a stance here before earnings. But the whole semiconductor sector toward the end of last week was kind of seeing some volume and seeing some inflows. You can never quite make decisions based solely off that. You want to make sure that charts accompany your decisions as well. The charts represent a physical manifestation of the battle that's going on between buyers and sellers behind the scene. So as long as the chart pairs with volume, then it makes sense. And if you don't know how to read a chart, right, or where to even start when it comes to putting your money to work for you in markets, email me. Subject line trade, Adam@adamhollandeducates.com. And let's get to work because we've got what, 2 more months left? October, November, 3 more months left in the year, a quarter of the year still, right? Still a quarter of the year. A lot of time has passed, but we've still got plenty of time ahead. Don't waste it. Make sure that you're taking advantage of it, as well as taking advantage of all that markets have to offer, especially given last week's close. Now, in terms of earnings, we got AutoZone September 24th, which is Tuesday, and Stitch Fix. Those are probably the only two names that I recognize there. Only a small number of names. Then we get Micron on Wednesday. They're a semiconductor company, right? Computer chips. Thursday, we get Costco Wholesale, Accenture, Jabil, and CarMax. Um, Anything else worth mentioning here? IPOs, we don't really care about. Uh, mm, Yeah, so that looks like it's it for the week ahead. Let's check our economic calendar here and see. So today, Monday, September 23rd, we've got Atlanta Fed President speaking at 8 a.m. 9:45 flash US services PMI. PMI is, one of those little pieces of data that can cause some like short-lived volatility in markets. So if you see, some crazy 1 minute candles around 9:45, that's probably what it was. 10:15 a.m. Chicago Fed President Austin Goolsbee. And then 1 p.m., look, I just mentioned his name, Minneapolis Fed President Neil Kashkari speaks. I don't believe he opposed the 50 basis point move. I'm not sure, but watch out for that at 1 p.m. Kashkari does not always make markets move, but he is one of those guys where um, he kind of seeks attention sometimes, and he has caused some market volatility here this year, right? Specifically causing some sell-offs. So I'd still, tell your trusty voice assistant to remind you at 12:50 p.m. that Kashkari speaks at 1. And if you see any craziness, it could 1,000% be him. So that's my biggest focus of today is how does he act when he gets up there today? Is he trying to cause trouble? Or is he fine? And he's, not really saying anything that's impactful. Make sure that you're aware of that so that if something does happen this afternoon, you have that factored into your expectations. Tuesday, September 24th, 9 a.m., Federal Reserve Governor Michelle Bowman speaks. I don't know if she'll speak through market open or not. And then we get consumer confidence at 10 a.m. Wednesday, nothing really important. At 4 p.m., we've got a Fed Reserve Governor Adriana Kugler speaking, but that's at 4, so we don't care about that. Thursday, GDP, second revision, 9:10, Adriana Kugler and Susan Collins, two different Fed, governors and presidents, speaking at 9:10 a.m. Michelle Bowman speaks at 9:15 a.m. Jerome Powell gives the opening remarks at 9:20 a.m. So we've got a lot of members of the Fed speaking Thursday morning. And that's also when Powell, kind of gives his pre-recorded remarks. So Thursday morning, like right around market open, right before and right, headed into market open, we'll have to be, cognizant of that. Jerome Powell's opening remarks happen at 9:20 a.m. So right before market open. So we'll probably have to wait until just before open to mark off our pre-market high and pre-market low and whatnot, just in case that statement, I guess, impacts how we move pre-market. Friday, we get PCE data. So we do kind of have some things going on this week. It's not like it's an easy coasting week. We've definitely had more packed weeks, but PCE on Friday, that's big news. We've got Powell and a number of other Fed speakers on Thursday right at open. And then on Tuesday, excuse me, and then today we've got, Kashkari. So I'd say we definitely got to keep our eyes peeled today for Kashkari at 1 p.m. Tuesday, not really, as impactful. Wednesday, same thing. It's really Monday, Thursday, Friday. Those are the days this week where we could get some craziness Monday because of Kashkari. Uh, what is it? Thursday, because of Powell and all these different Fed presidents and governors that are speaking, and then Friday because of PCE. So Monday, Thursday, Friday, those are going to be the days where we get wild cards thrown into the mix. So make sure you have that written down, right? Take it down to your notepad. Tell Alexa to remind you, tell Siri to remind you, whatever you need to do, um, in order to make sure that you're aware of what's going on when. That's important. Set whatever alerts, alarms. I'm the type of guy that sets 3 different alarms, right? If you know you get distracted, you've got a lot of notifications coming through, do what you need to do in order to make sure that you're, nice and ready for what we have already exposed, right? It's happening soon. Once you know about that, right, it's your job to make sure that you follow up and do what you need to do in order to factor that in to how you move. In terms of moving on to our Monday specific news, here are top news saving Intel. Once considered to be a major force in Silicon Valley, Intel, ticker INTC, in recent times has been marred with technological and financial struggles. It's hard knock life. It has prompted thousands of layoffs, a suspension of its dividend, and a pause in factory projects amid a costly foundry build-out. Shares of the company have even lost over half their value in 2024, so it's no surprise that rivals are looking to scoop up some company assets at cheaper prices. The vultures are circling. Word on the street reports have surfaced that Qualcomm has approached Intel about a potential takeover. Wow. While a deal is said to be far from certain, a transaction like this could benefit from the billions in government grants and low-cost loans lined up for Intel. It's crazy that Intel has been given all these layups and are still struggling like they are, but face scrutiny from antitrust regulators. If not the entire company, Qualcomm is also said to have been considering various parts of Intel's design operations, particularly its client PC design division. That's not all. Apollo Global Management, ticker APO, seems to have thrown its hat in the ring as well. According to Bloomberg, Apollo has invested about $5 billion into Intel, with the latter currently considering the proposal. Broadcom's, whose ticker is AVGO, Broadcom's name has also come up, with advisors continuing to consider potential bids for the chip maker to make the most of the current situation. Yeah, you don't have to say that twice. If there's anything, any resources toward chip making that come up for the cheap, I'm sure there will be tons of buyers and bidders and suitors and everything in between. Good idea. Quote, antitrust concerns exist, but may be manageable, particularly if the foundry business is spun off as planned. Research writes in Intel and Qualcomm, a solid merger match. Quote, aside from the unrealistic $90 billion price tag, the merger is likely to encounter significant regulatory, financial, and integration challenge, counters KM Capital, pointing to discounted cash flow. Quote, I do not want to be boastful, but Intel stock has lost more than 30% of its value since I have shared my strong sell recommendation back in May. He's like, I don't mean to be boastful, but I told you guys they're cooked. This company's garbage, and I called it. So yeah, toot your horn, my guy. Um, yeah, I mean, this is tough because a lot, especially under this administration, you guys know how I feel about mergers and acquisitions. A lot of them don't go through. Do I see this going through? I don't think so. I'd be surprised if it does, but we'll see. We've got elections, what, 2 months from now? So, um, yeah, a little over a month from now, a month and a half. So I feel like if they time this right, maybe they can get it to work, but at least I mean, if Trump gets voted in, then I think that this works, that they're allowed to acquire, do whatever they want. If we have Democrats retain, power, then I think we see the same very, very like strict and stringent regulatory action that has stopped a ton of different mergers from going through. Um, and some justifiably so, I guess. I mean, imagine if Nvidia was actually allowed to acquire ARM. Nvidia bought ARM, right? Who's also a huge semiconductor company that's kind of blown up. Imagine if they were allowed to buy ARM like now. That would be crazy. They'd be unstoppable. They're already at the forefront, but they'd be absolutely unstoppable. No one could contest, and all these chips would cost freaking $5 million per chip. Energy news, nuclear restart in a move that can unlock financing for the industry. Major global banks, including Bank of America, Barclays, Citi, Morgan Stanley, and Goldman Sachs, are set to pledge increased support for nuclear energy. This is all toward funding and powering the proliferation of AI. The energy needs are going to be out of this world. While nuclear project funding complexities and risks remain, experts say that a public show of support has been long awaited, given the critical role nuclear energy can play in the overall global energy transition. Remember, Microsoft just signed a 20-year deal to revive the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant to power its data centers. Of course it did, right? Because again, data centers, what do you need that for? AI. I mean, it's difficult with all of these cybersecurity issues that we've been experiencing. I don't know if I want more nuclear facilities up and running because there's going to be a few crusty ones that still have computers from like the 80s and they've got no cybersecurity and literally in the background of what they're doing, which is like nuclear. Somebody can just slide in there and then now suddenly we might be setting off nukes, at these facilities. Like I don't like it. If we can't protect like all these different health insurance companies and not even them, like what was it, AT&T that got hacked and leaked millions of people's data? If AT&T is getting hacked, I don't trust these like this investment into nuclear energy and them not be outfitted with the top cybersecurity. So that's just my initial concern. It doesn't have anything to do with like the stocks or anything like that, but it's just like, can we keep like our identities safe, with more updated companies before we start talking about like investing more into nuclear energy and God knows how much cybersecurity they have. Tech news, connected risks. It's not only TikTok. The Biden administration today is expected to roll out a ban on Chinese software and hardware used in connected and autonomous vehicles due to national security concerns. Quote, you can imagine the catastrophic outcome theoretically if you had a couple million cars on the road and software were disabled. Yeah, I mean, our relationship with China is not getting any better. If anything, it's deteriorating. China's economic situation is deteriorating. So we're getting both China and Russia. They're kind of these animals that are backed into a corner and ready to lash out at any point. So we need to make sure that we have the least number of vulnerable points as possible because that's how warfare is, waged now. I mean, if you didn't see what is it? Where the World Ends, or I don't even know what it's called, but you guys know what I'm talking about, the movie with who's that guy? Dark skinned guy, great actor. He was in one of the True Detective seasons. I forget what his name is. But basically, when everything starts going crazy and you had all the Teslas that were like programmed to crash and block up all the roads, like that 100% could happen with all of the computing power that goes into cars now. Um, so I'm in support of this. I don't know how many people are driving around like cars with Chinese software, hardware maybe, but I don't know about software. Um, But yeah, let's see. The proposed US ban would come after the White House announced it would put 100% duty on imported Chinese electric vehicles. Yeah, that's what it's like. Who's even buying a Chinese EV for double the cost because of the taxes? I don't think anyone. Legislation, bare bones. Congressional leaders on Sunday announced a bipartisan short-term spending bill that was described by House Speaker Mike Johnson as very narrow, bare bones. It should pass by the end of the week and would avoid a potential government shutdown when the new budget year starts on October 1st. Notably, to reach a consensus on the stopgap bill, Johnson abandoned a push to mandate proof of citizenship when people register to vote. Hmm. Do you not have to be a citizen to vote? Reach a consensus on abandon a push to mandate proofs. Bro, what? This is crazy. I did not know that that wasn't already a thing. Don't you have to present your license when you vote? I have no idea. This is crazy. But that's the funny thing about like democracy. Is it really democracy? Like, I mean, I know that they've had, one of the prevailing viewpoints is that like the border has been so loose and we've been, shipping all of these immigrants places so that when election time comes around, Democrats can have them registered to vote and then they can sway the election. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's false. It's just I'm pretty shocked that you didn't have to show proof of citizenship to vote to begin with. Like, are you just pulling up like it's a voting party and just throwing your vote in the hat and calling it a day? Quote, as history is taught in current polling affirms, shutting the government down less than 40 days from a fateful election would be an act of political malpractice, Johnson said in a statement. Yeah, I agree. So I agree in kind as well. That would be pretty bad. In terms of today's markets, mostly green. In Asia, Japan closed. Hong Kong down 0.1, China up 0.4, India up 0.5%. The London down 0.1, Paris down 0.3, Frankfurt up 0.5, Dow up 0.1, basically flat. S&P up 0.2, Nasdaq up 0.3, crude oil up 0.4%, gold flat. Bitcoin up 1.3%. Oh, back above 60K at almost at 63.5, it looks like. 9:45 a.m. composite flash data, so we get some short-lived volatility at 9:45. 10:15, we've got Goolsby, could be significant, right? Especially given the fact that the Fed just made a major move. And then 1 p.m., we've got Kashkari. Watch out. That guy's an attention seeker. So we'll see what he has to say, but make sure you're aware that he's speaking at 1 p.m. What else is happening? Samsung and TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor, are said to weigh Middle East mega factories. General Motors, ticker GM, to lay off 1,700 workers at Kansas plant. Learn how to put their money to work for you. Learn how to leverage AI for your monetary good, right? And just general well-being, because these layoffs continue. It's every day. It's every day. Musk says SpaceX to launch 5 uncrewed starships to Mars. People's Bank of China injects cash, cuts 14-day reverse repo rate. They're just trying anything. They're so desperate. Google's emails presented as key evidence in antitrust trial. Gold tops $2,600 per ounce barrier, but could a correction be coming? J&J unit seeks third Chapter 11 filing to settle talc claims. Man, J&J still going through it from these baby powder claims. Boeing defense head Colbert exits in first shakeup for new CEO. SEC approves options trading on BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF. Now we got options trading on spot Bitcoin ETFs. It's getting hot. I mean, it's true. Options are the most versatile tool that any financial market has to offer. So that's what you want. That's what anybody who's pushing for crypto, adoption and acceptance, that's what they want is this, the same optionable potential being applied to Bitcoin ETFs and crypto related things. Trump rejects Harris's invitation for another debate on CNN. Yeah. I mean, it might be good, like, and entertainment to have another debate. I don't think it would do anything constructive. I don't think the first one did anything constructive. If you think, Trump's a dirty liar, I'm sure you thought the same thing after the debate. If you think Kamala's a dirty liar, I'm sure you thought the same thing after the debate. So it's really just for, theatrics. I mean, you look at the DNC, the RNC, all of it. There's like Lil Jon performing and, all these actors and actresses. It's just a big, party dog and pony show. Stay focused on the mandate, right? The dual mandate of this year. Learn AI, learn to leverage it for your own good. And then also make sure that you're learning markets and learning how to operate and navigate in them in order to make sure that your money is the hardest working thing that you know. But other than that, y'all, final 100 days of the year, we have time to get 100% better. I love that, Alicia. 100 days of the year. I love that. I'm taking a picture of that. I absolutely love that. You have time to still get 100% better. That is bomb right there. That got me hyped up. Amazing. Vivian, yeah, I can't believe it's Bostic. I believe it was Bostic who posted. Yeah. Really weird. And is that who's talking today? Is Bostic the one who's talking today? You see. No, that's Gouldsby. I don't know if Bostic is speaking this week. 8 a.m. So he talked already, I guess. So he talked already at 8 a.m. Ah, okay. Bostic. So, I mean, that's kind of good because maybe Neil won't go crazy when he gets on today. We'll have to wait and see. But if he didn't oppose it, then maybe he'll just like play normal and keep his mouth shut and all that good stuff. But look, guys, I'm excited. We got another week ahead of us. Like Alicia said, we got 100 days ahead of us. We have time to get 100% better, completely double up on where we are now. And I'm excited to seize each and every opportunity to do that. Everybody have a great rest of the day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.